Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to get to the bottom of social anxiety disorder. We're going to break down what it really is, how it's so much more than just being shy, and most importantly, what can actually be done about it. Okay, let's dive right in.
So, picture this. You're about to walk into a party, or maybe you have to give a presentation at work. Is your heart just doing a little flutter, some normal nerves, or does it feel more like full-blown gut-wrenching panic? That feeling, that intense, overwhelming fear in social situations, well, that's exactly what we're talking about today.
And this right here, this really gets to the heart of it. Shyness, that's usually temporary and pretty mild. It might make you hesitate for a second, but it's not going to stop you from living your life. But social anxiety disorder, that's a whole different story. It's chronic, it's severe, and it doesn't just mess with a moment. It can seriously get in the way of your work, your school, and your relationships.
So let's move beyond just the feeling and look at the actual clinical definition. This is where we really draw the line between a common, everyday experience and a diagnosable condition.
Okay, so here it is. And I want you to notice those key words, intense and persistent. This isn't just a fleeting worry that comes and goes. At its core, this disorder is a powerful, ongoing fear of being watched, judged, and ultimately, rejected by other people. It's like an alarm bell that's just stuck in the on position.
So what does it actually feel like to live with this day in and day out? Let's take a closer look at the experience of social anxiety disorder from the inside out.
You can really think about the experience in three distinct but totally interconnected parts. There's what you feel emotionally, then what your body does physically, and finally, how you act or behave because of all that fear. Let's break each one down.
First up, the emotional roller coaster. The anxiety isn't just during the social event. Oh no, there's something called anticipatory anxiety, which could mean you're literally losing sleep for a week over a 10-minute meeting. And then after it's all over, post-event rumination kicks in. That's when you replay every single tiny interaction in your head, completely convinced you said or did the wrong thing. It's an absolutely relentless cycle.
Now, all of that mental fear triggers a very real, very physical fight or flight response. Your heart starts pounding out of your chest, you might start sweating or trembling, you could even feel dizzy or sick to your stomach. And let's be clear, these are not just nerves. These are powerful, involuntary physical reactions to what your brain is perceiving as a major, major threat.
So, with all that going on emotionally and physically, how does a person cope? Well, a lot of the time, it's through avoidance. They might start turning down invitations, leaving parties super early, or using what are called safety behaviors, like constantly staring at their phone to feel less exposed. But here's the real trap. Every single time a situation is avoided, the brain learns that the only way to feel safe is to run away. That avoidance actually makes the fear stronger, locking a person deeper into the cycle.
So where does all this intense anxiety even come from? Well, it's rarely just one single thing. Most of the time, it's a really complex mix of your biology, your psychology, and your life experiences.
Think of it like three pieces of a puzzle coming together. Biologically, there can be a genetic component, or even an overactive amygdala, that's the brain's fear center. Psychologically, it might be fueled by deeply ingrained negative beliefs about yourself. And environmentally, things like being bullied or having really critical parents can play a huge role. It's often the intersection of all three that creates the perfect storm for social anxiety to develop.
Okay, so with all that complexity, how does a mental health professional actually diagnose social anxiety disorder? Well, it's not a guess. It's a very specific process based on a clear set of criteria.
When it comes to a diagnosis, professionals are looking for a few key things. First, the fear has to be way out of proportion to the actual situation. It also has to cause significant impairment in someone's life, meaning it's really getting in the way of their job, their education, or their relationships. And finally, they have to make sure the symptoms aren't being caused by something else.
And this is a really big one, the duration. For an official diagnosis, this pattern of fear, anxiety, and avoidance needs to have been going on for at least 6 months. This is so important because it helps distinguish a chronic disorder from, say, just a temporary period of high stress or a bad couple of weeks.
All right, now for what I think is the most important part of this whole conversation. And it's the good news. Social anxiety disorder is highly, highly treatable. So let's look at the path to managing it effectively and getting your life back.
The path to management usually involves a combination of three key things.
The main approach is typically psychotherapy, often called talk therapy. Sometimes that's supported by medication, and all of it is reinforced with new self-help strategies and lifestyle changes.
And when we talk about therapy, the absolute gold standard is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It's incredibly practical and hands-on. It basically teaches you how to identify and challenge all those automatic negative thoughts. And then, and this is key, through gradual, manageable exposure, it helps you face the situations you fear, step by step, until they just don't have the same power over you anymore.
And this is the message I really want you to take away. The prognosis is good. With the right help, especially when you get it early, people can dramatically improve their quality of life. It's a message of real, genuine hope. This is not a life sentence. It is a treatable condition.
So, we've seen that social anxiety disorder is a real, it's a severe, but ultimately it's a treatable condition. It's not a character flaw or something to be ashamed of. It's a cycle of fear and avoidance that absolutely can be broken. And that leaves us with one final thought. Understanding is always the first step toward empathy. So now that we know more, how can we all use this knowledge to be a little more patient, a little more kind, and create spaces where it's just a little bit easier for everyone to show up as they are?